A new hope arrives. The Galactic Council chamber buzzed with nervous energy as representatives from a dozen alien species argued and bickered. A grave threat loomed over the galaxy, one that thwarted the efforts of even their most brilliant minds. "The Zorgans continue to overrun our defenses," exclaimed the arthropod delegate, mandibles clicking anxiously. "Our fleets are devastated, our resources depleted. We must find a solution before it's too late." "We've exhausted every option," sighed the crystalline Volux ambassador. "Our technology, our science, nothing has been effective against their onslaught." Suddenly, the chamber doors swung open with a clang. All eyes turned to the unexpected arrival, a lone figure striding confidently into the room. It was a human, clad in a simple explorer's uniform bearing an unfamiliar insignia. "I come representing the Terran Expeditionary Force," the human announced, voice ringing with determination. "My name is Captain Jax Ryder. I'm here to offer our assistance in your fight against the Zorgans." Murmurs rippled through the gathered aliens, some intrigued, others disdainful. The reptilian Saurian counselor scoffed openly. "Humans? Your kind has barely left your own system. What could you possibly offer against a threat like the Zorgans?" Captain Ryder met the Saurian's doubtful gaze steadily. "Humans are new to the galactic stage," he acknowledged. "But sometimes, an outside perspective is exactly what's needed. If you'll give us a chance, I believe we can find a way to turn the tide of this war." The chamber erupted into frenzied debate once more as the counselors argued the merits of accepting aid from the upstart humans. But beneath the din, a few began to nod slowly, a spark of desperate hope igniting in their eyes. In this darkest hour, perhaps this brash young race was exactly what the galaxy needed. Unconventional strategies. Captain Ryder stood before a holographic star map, jaw set as alien commanders looked on skeptically. The Zorgan invasion routes glowed an angry red, engulfing system after system. "The key is to think unconventionally," Ryder explained, gesturing at the map. "The Zorgans anticipate traditional military responses. We need to adapt, employ guerrilla tactics and surgical strikes to keep them off balance." The avian Cretar admiral ruffled her feathers. "Your plans are audacious, human. Reckless, even. How do you propose to penetrate their lines with such small strike teams?" Ryder grinned. "By exploiting a very human trait, unpredictability. We'll infiltrate covertly using old blink drive technology the Zorgans won't detect. Then we hit them fast and hard where they least expect it, starting at this supply nexus here." "Blink drives? That ancient tech hasn't been used in centuries," protested the Volux commander. "It's far too risky. Maybe for your automated fleets. But we'll be relying on human ingenuity and skill to navigate the phase streams. Trust me, my people are very good at thinking on their feet." Ryder's eyes gleamed with confidence. The alien leaders exchanged uncertain glances, but one by one, they nodded assent. It was a huge gamble, but one they had to take. The alternative was annihilation. "Then it's settled," Ryder declared. "My strike teams will depart immediately to pave the way. It's time to show the Zorgans what humans are made of. Improvise, adapt, overcome." Alarms shrieked aboard the Zorgan command ship as human strike teams materialized on every deck, weapons blazing. Captain Ryder led the charge, hair scorched and face caked with grime, but eyes bright with fierce determination. "Keep pushing forward," he barked into his comm unit. "Access terminal up ahead. Reeves, work your magic." Lieutenant Reeves, fingers flying over the alien control panel, cracked a crooked grin. "Aye, Captain. Slicing Zorgan security, now. Rerouting power from weapons to shields across their whole fleet. That oughta even the odds for our friends out there." On the view screen, the tide of battle shifted as the allied alien fleets rallied, tearing into the suddenly vulnerable Zorgan warships with renewed ferocity. "Ha! Not bad for a bunch of hairless apes, eh? Reeves' laughter turned to a pained grunt as a plasma blast seared his shoulder. Less gloating, more slicing, Ryder admonished, firing back at the oncoming Zorgans. Arx, what's the status on those dash? He ducked as a massive alien loomed behind him, seconds before it collapsed with an axe sprouting from its skull. Captain Arx, the strike team's hulking close combat specialist, grunted as he wrenched his dripping weapon free. Priority targets neutralized, sir. We're clear to the objective. Ryder nodded sharply. Then let's finish this. Time to show these bastards you don't corner humanity without one hell of a fight. The turning point. In the heart of the Zorgan command ship, Captain Ryder and his battered team burst onto the bridge, weapons leveled at the snarling alien command staff. It's over, Ryder declared, voice steely. Surrender now and end this invasion, or we will end it for you. The Zorgan commander, a scarred brute towering over even Arx, sneered with disdain. Pathetic human. You really thought your pitiful incursion could stop us? We are endless. We are unstoppable. Yeah. Tell that to your supply lines, your weapon systems, your fleet in pieces around us. Ryder smirked grimly. Face it, you underestimated us. A fatal mistake. The commander roared, lunging at Ryder with impossible speed. The human barely had time to react before a massive fist slammed into him, sending him crashing across the deck. Arx bellowed and leapt to engage the furious alien, axe clashing against wickedly barbed claws. Stunned, Ryder shook his head to clear it, struggling to rise. His blurring gaze settled on the ship's main control panel just as Reeves forced a signal through the static on his comlink. Captain. We've got a major issue planetside. The Zorgans just announced they've rigged some sort of doomsday pulse beneath the capital. If it detonates, the whole planet's mantle will destabilize, billions will die. Staggering to the console, Ryder scanned the readouts with growing horror. It was true, and the detonation countdown had already begun. He glanced over to where Arx and the Zorgan commander were still locked in combat, smashing each other through bulkheads in a brutal brawl. The fate of this world hung in the balance. And the only ones who could save it were a ragtag band of humans who refused to give up. Gritting his teeth, Ryder turned his attention to the alien controls and began searching desperately for some way to abort the detonation. No one left behind. With trembling fingers, Captain Ryder worked feverishly at the Zorgan control panel, sweat dripping down his brow. The countdown to planetary catastrophe continued inexorably. Come on, you alien piece of junk, he muttered. Give me something to work with here. Behind him, Arx crashed to the deck, the Zorgan commander's claws buried deep in his gut. Captain, the warrior roared, blood frothing at his lips. Finish the mission. Ryder glanced back, anguished, as his friend slumped motionless. A cold, implacable fury settled over him. His fingers danced across the controls with renewed purpose. Suddenly, a flashing rune caught his eye, an emergency teleport protocol. With dawning realization, Ryder saw that it was keyed to the location of the doomsday pulse. A desperate plan began to form. Reeves, I need you to hack an uplink to the fleet, patch me through on all channels. He reached for the teleport controls with grim determination. Captain? Reeves queried over the comm, alarmed. What are you dash? No time. Just get me that link. Ryder's jaw clenched as he finalized the settings. I know what I have to do. A hiss of static resolved into the buzz of a dozen alien captains demanding updates. This is Ryder, he called out. Mission success imminent. Begin immediate global evac of all civilians to minimum safe distance. And, it's been an honor. Ignoring the confused replies, he closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and activated the teleporter. For humanity, he whispered. And vanished in a flash of light. Planetside, the human captain materialized deep underground, surrounded by pulsing alien machinery. At the center of the chamber, an ominous sphere crackled with building energy, the doomsday pulse, seconds from detonation. Without hesitation, Ryder leapt for the sphere, slamming his palm down on the console. Blinding white enveloped him. On the planet's surface, the ground shuddered. Evacuation ships fought to outpace the seismic shockwaves as civilians screamed and clung to each other desperately. Then, as suddenly as it began, the shaking ceased. The terrible roiling of the planet's core quieted. In the sky above, the Zorgan fleet hung shattered and silent. The war was over. Against impossible odds, humanity had triumphed. But the cost had been high. A bittersweet victory. The Galactic Council chamber was somber as a sea of alien faces looked down upon the small knot of humans standing before them. The surviving members of Captain Ryder's strike team bore the scars of their harrowing mission, faces etched with mingled grief and exhaustion. "The galaxy owes you humans a debt we can never repay," intoned the arthropod counselor, stalks bowing low. "The sacrifice of Captain Ryder and so many of your brave warriors will never be forgotten." Lieutenant Reeves stepped forward, one arm bound in a sling, the other clutching a battered jalopnik of his fallen captain. "With respect, counselors," he gritted out, "I'd trade all the thanks in the universe to have my friends back." Solemn nods greeted his words. "Were it within our power, we would grant that wish readily," replied the Volux ambassador somberly. "Captain Ryder's, JAXA's noble actions saved billions of lives. Entire worlds will forever honor his name." Reeves clenched his jaw against the swell of emotion, giving a tight nod. The weight of loss hung heavy upon them all, comrades, brothers and sisters in arms sacrificed in the heat of battle. Yet in the face of overwhelming odds, humanity had shown its mettle. When the galaxy faced its darkest hour, desperate voices crying out for a savior, humanity had answered. Not with hubris or designs of conquest, but with courage, ingenuity and sheer stubborn indomitability. The Terran expeditionary forces had earned more than accolades this day. They had earned the respect and gratitude of all galactic civilization. The gathered multitudes bent their heads in unified acknowledgement, a gesture of solemn honor towards the huddled humans. "We thank you," the Cretar counselor intoned formally. "From this day forth, humanity shall stand tall among us as equals and honored friends. Your strength and spirit have illuminated our darkest hour, and for that, you will forever have our undying respect." Reeves and his comrades stood a bit straighter, squaring shoulders beneath the weight of their grief and the magnitude of the moment. The path forward would not be easy, the memory of the fallen a constant ache. But they would endure. They would rebuild. And they would carry forth the legacy of honor and sacrifice that their brothers and sisters had purchased with their lives. For they were human. And even in the face of the implacable void, humanity would continue to strive, to seek, to push back against the darkness. It was their nature. Their calling. After all, the galaxy never did know what to expect from this brash, young race. Epilogue: The Winds of Change. 3 years after the battle that decided the fate of the galaxy, the shipyards over Earth writhed with activity. Shining new cruisers and sleek frigates bearing the Terran Expeditionary logo moved in precise formation, undergoing final maneuvers before assuming their new stations on the front lines of galactic defense. On the observation deck of the flagship TEF Ryder's Legacy, Admiral Reeves watched the ballet of ships with tired eyes. The promotion had come as a surprise, a testament to his bravery and leadership during the Zorgan crisis. He still felt the weight of responsibility settle heavily upon his shoulders, though, a burden he would bear gladly in memory of those no longer there to share it. "You think they'd be proud of us, Captain?" The question came from Chief Petty Officer Mick Hudson, once the most junior member of Ryder's strike team. The kid had come a long way, earning his own set of stripes through sweat, determination, and grit. Reeves rested a hand on Mick's shoulder, gripping firmly. Yeah, Hudson. I reckon they would, at that. We're carrying on the mission, honoring their sacrifice. Making sure it wasn't in vain. Hudson nodded, straightening proudly. All around him, the faces of the bridge crew reflected the same quiet resolve. Many were veterans of the battle against the Zorgans. All carried the memories of those dark times close to their hearts. An alert chimed from the comms station. Transmission from the Galactic Council, sir, the comms officer reported crisply. Priority Alpha Channel. It's the arthropod ambassador himself. Reeves squared his shoulders, tugging his uniform straight. Put it through, Lieutenant. The view screen flickered to life, revealing the visage of the stalk-eyed alien diplomat. Admiral Reeves, he began, mandibles twitching solemnly. The Council requires your assistance in a grave matter. A new threat has emerged on the galactic fringe, one that could jeopardize the hard-won peace. Reeves nodded grimly. Understood, Ambassador. The TEF stands ready to face any challenge. Our ships and crews are at your disposal. His gaze drifted to the portrait of Captain Ryder adorning the bulkhead, immortalized in oils. Humanity will answer the call, he murmured softly. As we always have. As we always will. The ambassador bowed low, stalk eyes bobbing in respect. The galaxy is once again in your debt, Admiral. Transmitting coordinates now. Maker watch over you and your crews. As the screen went dark, Reeves turned to his bridge officers with fire in his eyes. You heard the ambassador, people. Looks like the TEF is back in action. Plot a course for the provided coordinates, all ahead full. A chorus of enthusiastic affirmations rang out as the mighty ship came about, engines thrumming with building power. This is for you, Jax, Reeves whispered, gazing out at the stars streaking past the viewport. For you, and for every man and woman who gave their lives to bring us this far. Wherever this new mission takes us, we'll make you proud. The Admiral settled into his command chair, surrounded by the resolute faces of his crew, as the flagship and its accompanying fleet leapt forward into warp, ready to meet the rising tides of destiny head-on. For they were the TEF. They were humanity. And the galaxy would never be the same.